In the next two slides, I'm going to discuss how certain thinking styles impact us. We've all listened to the news and supported their efforts to keep us informed about new measures and what the government is doing to help us. And we all appreciate the efforts everyone is taking, medical professionals and those still working. However, when we're watching the news, it's important to have a mindset that the news is trying to communicate with the masses. And what that means is it can be difficult to communicate a message to everybody so that everybody understands what they're trying to communicate. So sometimes what happens is the message is presented in a very simple manner to ensure the information is consistent and straightforward. While I appreciate the effort made, COVID-19 is a very complex issue, which is still being studied and understood scientifically and in many other ways. And you know, we get new updates all the time. So the news is trying to explain COVID-19 in the simplest way possible to reach the masses. And when people explain a message in the most simple way possible, sometimes, not always, what can happen is that the core of the issue is missed, or things are explained in a way that causes information to be polarized. So what is happening? And if you know me, I often talk about cognitive distortions. So the news is polarizing a complex issue, and this causes important information to be presented in a way that causes a feedback loop in our minds from what we hear on the news that serves to perpetuate feelings of anxiety, unease, and more. So in these next two slides, I'm going to present to you to help you identify when that thinking style starts. And, you know, just remember it's going to take some time and effort because you're going to have to catch yourself repeating that. And it'll take some time and effort because you're going to have to learn to rethink some of the messages you hear to stop that problematic thought pattern that's creating the unease and the anxiety. Now, remember, there are some things that are facts. So if they're facts, great, go with the facts. And I'm not talking about the facts, and you'll understand further in the next slide. So I'm going to identify some polarized thoughts. So these are kind of polarized, it's black and white, they're absolutes, and you'll notice when you hear certain absolutes sometimes, automatically our mind-body connection triggers certain emotions and sensations. So that's one way to learn how to identify when you've heard a polarized thought. So just remember that there's good intentions behind it, where the information you're hearing is trying to be presented to the masses. It's in an effort to be consistent and straightforward. However, we've all got the ability of discernment within us, and so we have the ability to rethink what we hear so we can utilize self-talk that is in a way that is more balanced or helps to stop that feedback loop from happening. So in the next slide, I'm going to go over some of the polarized thinking and some alternative ways to view those messages. So stay tuned.